possible. As always, we ask you that you kindly refrain from asking two-parted questions, and please try to keep your questions focused on AEW Dynasty. I'm going to turn things over to Tony for some opening thoughts, and then we'll open the line for questions. Tony, go ahead.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited about this and fired up for AEW Dynasty this Sunday, April 6th on pay-per-view. I'm excited to see hopefully some of you at the pay-per-view and excited to talk to you all today. And I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. It's a really exciting time for AEW. I think we've been on a tremendous run of television, and Revolution was a tremendous way to kick off the pay-per-view calendar. And after such a great debut Dynasty last year in St. Louis, really looking forward to Dynasty and our pay-per-view debut in Philadelphia, which is one of the most iconic wrestling cities in the world. And so fired up for the weekend and fired up to talk to all of you right now. So with that, Danny, we can take it away.
That sounds great. We're going to start things off with Don Alba with the takedown on SI, and he'll be followed by Courtney Rice with Women's Wrestling Talk. Don, go ahead.
Tony, great to chat with you. Congratulations on the fresh start to the year with all the great pay-per-views. I know you're very excited to eventually get those pay-per-views on Max, so my question is about Max. There was a report this week from SC Scoops that said AEW is averaging around 500,000 viewers on Max for Dynamite, which would put the total somewhere in the vicinity of around 1 million viewers per week. I was curious if you could provide any clarification on the validity of that report and the type of messaging you receive as far as viewership on Max.
It's a great question. I was excited about that report, and I've been excited to hear from the Warner Brothers Discovery executives that AEW is one of the top sports events week in, week out, every week on Max. And we've been doing great numbers from everything I've been told. In the streaming industry, the numbers are very confidential, and we were told we would not necessarily be getting the same amount of data every week. And that's been the case. I haven't gotten the weekly reports like we do from the Nielsen data with cable ratings. So I don't know the numbers every week. All I know is we're one of the top shows, and those numbers are very consistent with one of the top shows on Max streaming, which I think the only other public report there had ever been, which I understood was a report directly from Warner Brothers Discovery, is that we're one of the top sports streaming shows. So I think that bodes really well for us, and it's very exciting news and a great report for AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery, which is such a great relationship. You know, in addition to being able to have our shows on TBS and TNT both for many years and now streaming on Max, we collaborate on a number of projects, including activations in our shows whenever we're able to promote major events for Warner Brothers Discovery, whether it's Shark Week, year in, year out for many years, or huge films such as Minecraft. And we have some other great projects working with Warner Brothers Discovery right now. We've collaborated with DC Comics in the past. It's a really exciting time for the AEW Warner Brothers Discovery relationship, and I thought that was a really exciting report for AEW and very consistent with everything we've been told, that while the numbers are being cut close to the vest, we're one of the top sports streaming shows, and everything in that report was consistent with what I've heard. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Courtney Rice with Women's Wrestling Talk is up next, followed by Jim Barcelona with the Miami Herald. Courtney, go ahead. We had Courtney for a second. Let's give her just a second to try and reconnect. Otherwise, we'll jump in with you. Courtney, do you want to try unmuting one more time? Yep, we have you.
Okay. Hi, Tony. First off, congratulations on a successful Revolution and also hosting AEW for the first pay-per-view for Philadelphia this weekend. I actually have a question regarding two of your main women's matches this weekend. The first one regarding Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne, and also kicking off the Owen Hart Women's Tournament with Athena and Mercedes Moné. And given the caliber with all four of these ladies, because also the Owen Hart Women's Tournament kicking off this weekend in Philadelphia.
Well, I'm very excited for AEW Dynasty, and certainly we've got some huge matches with championship stakes, including the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, defending the title against Megan Bayne, who has been on a dominant run in AEW in recent months. Megan Bayne has made a lot of new fans, and Megan Bayne has definitely attracted a lot of attention in AEW, dominating the competition, defeating multiple former champions along the way on this remarkable winning streak. And I'm very excited to see Megan Bayne challenge somebody who is one of the most compelling wrestlers in AEW, the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, who is one of the greatest wrestlers and also one of Hollywood's greatest stars. And it's going to be a true monster movie in this case. To see our leading lady against somebody who has been so dominant is going to be a really exciting matchup. And it's been a great conflict for the past month on AEW television, watching Megan Bayne and Timeless Toni Storm butt heads on the path to this huge collision for the AEW Women's World Championship. And the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Cup Tournament kicks off at AEW Dynasty with a huge match, as 8 of the top women in AEW are clamoring for a shot at the World Championship, and that includes the TBS champion Mercedes Moné and a former TBS champion Julia Hart. This is a match we've looked forward to for a long time, and we're going to get a preview of this match and another great first round match, which is Harley Cameron, another great rising star, versus the ROH Women's World Champion Athena. So we have some great stars and champions in this tournament. I'm very excited about it. I think that it's something to definitely watch on Collision in this exciting, huge main event we have this Saturday. Is to preview the tournament with the TBS champion Mercedes Moné teaming with her former opponent Harley Cameron to take on their respective first round opponents, Athena and Julia Hart. And to have multiple champions and former champions and rising stars all in one great match on Saturday's Collision, we're very excited for that. And I think it's very much representative of the great action we have on this pay-per-view show. I'm really looking forward to AEW Dynasty, and I think that it's a great preview of the action we'll see with Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, versus the former TBS champion Julia Hart, that we'll get to see in the main event this Saturday on Collision when they're on opposite sides in that big tag match. And a lot of exciting matchups and possibilities in the AEW Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, and I think we'll get a great look at that Saturday, and we're going to have a great start to the tournament at Dynasty on Sunday. Thanks, Raph.
Thanks, Tony, and thank you, Courtney. Jim Barcelona at the Miami Herald, you're up next, and Jim will be followed by Alex Hunt with Inside the Ropes. Jim, go ahead. Jim's still working to unmute. Why don't we go ahead and do Alex Hunt with Inside the Ropes, and we will go back to Jim afterwards. Alex, you're up. Alex, go ahead.
Hi there, how are we going, Tony? How all good?
Very well, very well. I'm glad you're there.
Yeah, good. Thank you. So,
Lex Luger is going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame over WrestleMania weekend, and in multiple interviews he's mentioned that he would like Sting to be part of the induction ceremony, who was obviously part of AEW. If you're approached, is that something you'd be sort of open to do, or is it an off-limits thing that Sting can't appear? Thank you.
I'm not sure. I'm very focused on AEW Dynasty. Obviously, it's a few days away. I talked to Sting recently before AEW Revolution, looking back on some great memories. Of course, it's hard to think of AEW Revolution without thinking of Sting. He debuted in AEW Revolution and then ended his career at Revolution 3 years later. And so I'll always think of Sting Revolution season. So we caught up on the phone right around the pay-per-view, and that was the last time we'd spoken. So haven't heard from him about that. But certainly he's doing very well, and that relationship and that friendship means so much to me, and we're all very grateful for Sting. I was just doing an interview today earlier where they asked me some questions about Sting, and anytime I get asked, I will speak glowingly, lovingly, and as the biggest Sting fan. And so I have to say, the last time I talked to Sting, that didn't come up, but would have to talk to him about that. And like I said, very focused on Dynasty and excited for Sunday. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, Tony. Looks like we've lost Jim Barcelona for the time being, so we are going to move on to Dominic D'Angelo with One True Sport, who will be followed by Andrew Baydalo with Final Bell Media. Dominic, go ahead.
Well, you can hear me okay, man?
Yeah, man, I hear you great.
All right, cool. Awesome you're going to Philly. I wish I could be there. It's one of my favorite cities. I'm across the state in Pittsburgh, so can't make it. But did want to ask about the build towards AEW Dynasty, particularly with Jon Moxley. He's been up against Cope. He's been up against Swerve, obviously. There much talked about was the spike back spot going on. And wanted to get your the details behind that, if there was necessarily like collaboration with you and John on that particular spot. Was that discussed? And how do you go about doing something that's like appears to be kind of risky in certain aspects like that, but very visually effective, so to speak?
That was a great match, and that big street fight in Omaha, Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland, set the stage for AEW Dynasty. We knew Swerve Strickland would be challenging for the title, and it was a great street fight, Mox versus Cope. It was a big success for us. If you look, the video has been watched millions of times across multiple platforms, and the show delivered. It was a great event for AEW, and it was a dangerous moment in the match when Jon Moxley landed on Spike, and Spike went into Jon Moxley's back in the form of all those nails, and it's a hardcore wrestling moment, and it was something that it was a risk that Adam Copeland and Jon Moxley took in the match, and it really paid off. And Jon Moxley was able to return to the ring last night and will return to the ring at AEW Dynasty. Those are very tough guys, Adam Copeland and Jon Moxley. They put their bodies through a lot, and Swerve Strickland's a very tough wrestler who's put his body through a lot. And we saw what he's willing to go through in his huge rivalry with Hangman Page and their hardcore, hard-hitting matches, and in last night's brawl with Jon Moxley and the climax of last night's go-home AEW Dynamite. I think it's going to be a great match at AEW Dynasty, and certainly both men have been through a lot to get to this World Championship match. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, Tony. Andrew Baydalo with Final Bell Media, you're up next, and then we're going to try Jim Barcelona again. Andrew?
the time. Really looking forward to this Sunday, and I love the inclusion of the Owen Cup on this Sunday's card. Congratulations on another cup, and good luck. This question was kind of set up for me, and it's obviously not done on purpose, but recently AEW undoubtedly has been creative with its approach to venues, talent, and live events, which has changed the overall outlook of the company, in my opinion. In the past, we've seen matches that have leaned more into violence. Is this something you will continue to increase element-wise on television as a way to attract a more mature audience? It seems like there's an opportunity to tap into that market share, especially since your biggest competitor is not fully utilizing it, in my opinion. Thanks.
Well, great question. AEW has featured the best hardcore matches, in my opinion, in pro wrestling over the past 6 years, and we will continue to do so. Some of the most exciting, exhilarating, hardcore, hard-hitting fights have been in AEW, and I believe we'll continue delivering that hard-hitting action. Our fans love it, and I grew up watching that kind of hardcore wrestling, and I think AEW's wrestlers put themselves through so much. At many of our pay-per-views, we've seen our wrestlers push it to the next level, and we've had some of the women and men in AEW take some fantastic risks to deliver the most enthralling, exhilarating hardcore wrestling, and certainly the city of Philadelphia embodies that. And we're really excited to be in Philadelphia for AEW Dynasty this weekend. It's a great wrestling town, and it has a great tradition. It's got great hardcore fans, and I know those are the fans, and fans like those fans all over the world that love the kind of action you're talking about, Drew. So I agree with you that AEW can continue delivering the very best hard-hitting action, and our wrestlers are willing to take the biggest risks. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, Tony, and thanks, Andrew. In Barcelona with the Miami Herald, we're going to try you again, and you'll be followed by Aruna Ghoshal with Sports Yes.
Sorry about that before. Just curious about transitioning from free TV shows to TV shows. What has that been like? Has it been helpful? Sometimes less is more. Just the travel challenges, positives, negatives, anything like that so far you can touch on. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really excited about AEW in 2025. I think it's been very well received by our fans and our media partners. We've been able to really reach more fans and new fans through our simulcast Wednesday night on TBS and streaming on Max, and Saturday night on TNT and streaming on Max. And we've been able to develop those new fans and keep our great audience on cable for TBS and TNT. And in doing so, I think it has worked very well. What we've had focusing on Wednesdays for Dynamite and Saturdays on Collision, it's a great cadence for the fans. And both shows have really been delivering great action every Wednesday and Saturday, respectively. So I think it's worked very well the way we structured our new media rights agreement to build out the simulcast Wednesdays and Saturdays and focus on those shows. And also, it's a deal that added a lot of incremental revenue to AEW and has helped us expand our business tremendously this year with the new revenue. Thanks for asking.
Thanks so much. Aruna Ghoshal with Sports Kita is